The Vexthanar, a legendary species known throughout the galaxy as the ultimate apex predator, stands unchallenged at the top of the cosmic food chain. Overseer Kazalthax studies the holographic display of his trophy chamber with glowing, multifaceted eyes. The room stretches endlessly, filled with stasis pods containing specimens from 7,483 different sentient species. His collection is unrivaled even among his kind, yet one display case remains conspicuously empty. The small pedestal bears only a label: human. These creatures are exceedingly rare in this galactic sector, but rumors of their capabilities have spread through space lanes like wildfire. Some species even claim humans possess abilities that defy conventional understanding. Kazalthax clicks his serrated mandibles in amusement at such superstition. When his intelligence network alerts him to a lone human research vessel drifting near the Cygnus Rift, he immediately prepares his hunting vessel. His second-in-command, Vral, presents ancient warning data about human encounters, but Kazalthax dismisses them with a contemptuous flick of his armored tail. No prey has ever escaped him, and this human will make the perfect final addition to his collection. The hunting vessel Silent Claw disengages from the central hive structure, its obsidian hull absorbing rather than reflecting the light of nearby stars. Kazalthax settles into the command throne, feeling the neural interfaces connect with his central nervous system. The ship becomes an extension of his consciousness, its sensors feeding directly into his heightened predatory awareness. Around him, the hunting crew performs final preparations with practiced efficiency. Each member of the 12-strong team has participated in at least 50 successful captures. Most have served under Kazalthax for decades. Display target analysis, Kazalthax commands, his voice a harmonious blend of clicks and sub-vocal rumbles that the ship's systems instantly translate. A three-dimensional projection materializes in the center of the command chamber. It shows a small vessel of unfamiliar design, its hull marked with symbols that the translation matrix identifies as the Curiosity, Earth Science Foundation. Primitive propulsion systems, observes Nexor, the tactical specialist. Limited. Weapons capability. Single life form aboard. His upper appendages manipulate the hologram, highlighting various sections of the target ship. The vessel appears to be a scientific platform rather than a military craft. Kazalthax feels mild disappointment. He had hoped for more of a challenge from this legendary species. Still, the rarity of the specimen would more than compensate for the simplicity of the hunt. The subject is conducting atmospheric sampling of the Cygnus Rift anomalies, continues Nexor. They appear unaware of our presence due to our phase-shifted approach vector. Excellent, Kazalthax responds, extending his primary hunting claws in anticipation. Deploy the neural suppression field first. I want this specimen undamaged, then the containment web. As the Silent Claw accelerates toward its unsuspecting prey, Vral approaches Kazalthax's command throne with uncharacteristic hesitation. Overseer, the historical archives contain specific warnings about human unpredictability. Perhaps you should remember your place, second, interrupts Kazalthax, his dorsal spines rising in irritation. I have captured Kronos war beasts with my bare hunting appendages. I have subdued telepathic Medusan hive queens. This soft, weaponless creature will offer no resistance worthy of concern. Vral bows in deference, backing away from the throne. As you command, Overseer. Kazalthax returns his attention to the approaching human vessel, already imagining how the specimen will look in the empty stasis chamber. His mandibles part in the Vexthanar expression of satisfaction. By tomorrow, his collection would finally be complete. Dr. Maya Chen sits in the cockpit of her research vessel, the Curiosity, calmly documenting space anomalies near the Cygnus Rift. The ship's sensors suddenly scream warnings as an enormous shadow eclipses the stars above. Before she can react, shimmering energy webs entangle her vessel, shutting down systems one by one. As darkness claims her view screens, Maya activates a specialized emergency beacon and quickly swallows what appears to be a vitamin capsule. When the boarding party breaches her airlock, they find her seemingly resigned to her fate. Xalthax personally oversees her transfer to the collection vessel, his disappointment evident in his posture. This creature stands barely to his chest with no visible natural weapons, merely soft skin and dull teeth. The scanning team reports confusion. Human biology seems inefficient, with redundant systems and curious cellular structures they cannot categorize. As Maya is processed through quarantine, her calm demeanor unnerves the junior handlers. She observes everything: guard rotations, door mechanisms, ventilation systems. The Vexthanar assume her quietness indicates fear, not realizing that beneath her scientist's exterior lies 15 years of crisis response training. The capsule she swallowed slowly dissolves, releasing nanites that map her surroundings through her nervous system. Technology the Vexthanar cannot detect with their biology-focused sensors. The quarantine chamber hisses as decontamination protocols complete their cycle. Two junior handlers flank Maya as she's escorted through gleaming corridors that pulse with bioluminescent light. She catalogs every detail. The curved architecture designed for beings with exoskeletons. The atmosphere slightly richer in nitrogen than humans prefer. The subtle temperature gradient that increases as they move deeper into the vessel. The specimen appears docile, one handler reports through a translator pinned to its thorax. No signs of distress behaviors typical of newly captured subjects. Maya keeps her breathing measured, her posture relaxed. The nanites, circulating through her bloodstream, are already constructing a three-dimensional map of the vessel's layout, storing it in her enhanced memory implant. Standard issue for Crisis Response Division personnel, though officially she left that life behind years ago. Officially. The procession halts before a massive chamber that causes even Maya's disciplined expression to falter momentarily. Thousands of transparent pods extend in every direction, each containing a different species. Some appear humanoid, others defy classification. Crystalline entities, gaseous forms contained in specialized fields, creatures composed entirely of what looks like liquid metal. Your new home awaits, human, Xalthax announces, his translated voice carrying unmistakable pride. You should feel honored. Few specimens receive a personal welcome from the chief overseer. Maya meets his multifaceted eyes steadily. I'm a scientist myself. I understand the drive to collect and categorize. Her response seems to please Xalthax, whose mandibles click in what she interprets as amusement. Intelligence. Excellent. The adaptive samples will be of higher quality. He gestures to a nearby pod, empty and waiting. Its interior dimensions are precisely calculated for human physiology. Maya notes the life support systems, the neural suppressors, the genetic sampling apparatus. Everything designed for long-term preservation and study. Before processing begins, Xalthax continues, our records on human physiology are incomplete. Do you have any specific biological requirements we should accommodate? The preservation of specimens is our highest priority. Maya allows herself a small smile. Humans are surprisingly resilient, but we do have one unique requirement that your systems might not be prepared for. Xalthax leans closer, scientific curiosity momentarily overriding his predatory instincts. And what might that be? Freedom, Maya replies softly as the nanites in her bloodstream complete their initial mapping sequence, sending a gentle vibration through her nervous system. Phase 1 complete. We tend to malfunction without it. The extraction chamber gleams with unsettling sterility as Xalthax personally prepares to collect genetic material from his human specimen. Maya lies strapped to an examination table, apparently sedated. The moment Xalthax lowers his extraction apparatus, her eyes snap open with laser-sharp focus. In one fluid motion, she dislocates her thumb, slips the restraint, and grabs a nearby sampling tool. Before the guards can react, she targets pressure points that her nanites identified in their exoskeletons. Two guards drop, temporarily paralyzed. Alarms howl throughout the vessel as Maya disappears into an access shaft too small for the Vexthanar to follow. The ship enters lockdown mode, something that hasn't happened in centuries. Through maintenance tunnels and service corridors, Maya witnesses the true horror of the collection. Thousands of sentient beings suspended in stasis, some species so ancient their worlds may no longer exist. She documents everything through her nanites while gathering supplies and learning the ship's layout. When a security team corners her in the atmospheric control sector, they expect easy recapture. Instead, they encounter human ingenuity at its finest. Maya reconfigures environmental controls to create a pressure differential that sends cutting particles through the air, harmless to her but agonizing to the guard's sensitive respiratory membranes. As security cameras track her progress, Kazalthax watches with growing fascination and the first twinge of something he's never felt before. Uncertainty. Impossible, Kazalthax hisses, studying the monitor displays from the command center. The facility has contained Valkyrian berserkers and Haraxian phase shifters. No species has ever escaped the primary containment protocols. Yet the monitors show empty corridors where guards should be, systems failing in sequential patterns too deliberate to be coincidental. The human moves with purpose, not panic. Status. Report, he demands, his voice unusually sharp. The security chief, Marvox, approaches with visible reluctance. 7 guards incapacitated, none fatally. The specimen has accessed 3 restricted sectors and disabled surveillance in 2 others. We've sealed off levels 30 through 55. And yet she continues to elude you, Kazalthax observes, his primary hunting claws extending and retracting unconsciously. How is a soft-tissue organism without natural weapons neutralizing my elite guards? Marvox hesitates. She appears to possess extensive knowledge of xenophysiology. The guards report she targets neural clusters and joint articulations with precision. She's using our biology against us. On the central monitor, they watch as Maya extracts components from what appears to be a medical analysis station. Her movements are economical, practiced. She assembles something from the components, working with the speed of someone following a predetermined plan rather than improvising. Magnify, orders Kazalthax. The image zooms in, revealing Maya constructing what appears to be a crude communication device. She connects it to the ship's secondary data conduit, a system typically used only for maintenance routines. What is she doing? Marvox wonders aloud. Kazalthax's sensory crests rise in alarm. She's accessing our systems. Lock down all data networks immediately. But the order comes too late. Maya completes her connection, and throughout the ship, display screens momentarily flicker. In that instant, something fundamental changes in the power dynamic aboard the vessel. Sir, reports a technician, mandibles clicking in agitation. The specimen has bypassed security encryption on the tertiary maintenance grid. She has access to environmental controls for sections 12 through 29. Kazalthax stares at the monitor, watching as Maya looks directly into a security sensor. She smiles, not the fearful grimace of cornered prey, but the calculating expression of a hunter assessing weakness. Fascinating, Kazalthax murmurs despite himself. For the first time in his long career, he feels something unexpected. Respect for prey. Day 3 of the hunt, and Kazalthax's elite capture teams report disturbing developments. The human doesn't just hide, she hunts back. The first team disappeared near hydroponics. The second team's communication cut off mid-sentence in the thermal regulation chamber. The third team found the previous teams cocooned in repurposed containment gel, alive but immobilized. The ship's secondary systems begin malfunctioning in patterns too precise to be coincidental. Maya has reached the communications hub, where she interfaces her nanites with the ship's universal translator. Within hours, she masters enough of the Vexthanar language to access restricted databases. The records reveal an uncomfortable truth. The Vexthanar evolved as parasitic organisms that absorb genetic advantages from host species. Their technological development lagged behind their biological prowess, making them dependent on stolen biology rather than innovation. Maya broadcasts a modified distress signal through subspace, embedding it with detailed scans of the vessel's weaknesses. In the command center, Kazalthax reviews security recordings with increasing agitation. The human moves differently now. She understands their ship better than junior crew members do. When she reconfigures a stasis field to trap an entire hunting party, Kazalthax's chief strategist whispers what was previously unthinkable. They should jettison this section of the ship with the human inside. Kazalthax dismisses the suggestion, but his usual confidence has eroded. The human has turned his perfect hunting ground into her laboratory, and them into her test subjects. Track her movement patterns, Kazalthax orders, his voice uncharacteristically tense. The command center hums with frantic activity as tactical officers compile data from the dwindling functional security nodes. Bral approaches, mandibles tight, with concern. "Sir, we've lost contact with Capture Team 4. Last transmission indicated they had cornered the human in Waste Reclamation Sector 6, but then..." He hesitates. "Then what?" Kazalthax demands. "The audio feed captured laughter, sir. Human laughter. The display wall flickers, security feeds cycling through empty corridors and abandoned posts." Kazalthax stares at the patterns, his hunter's instinct detecting something elusive in the human's movements. She's not running anymore, he realizes aloud. She's circling. Each time we think we've cornered her, she's actually positioning us. As if responding to his observation, the ship's lighting systems suddenly dim across 6 decks. Emergency protocols activate, bathing the affected sections in red illumination. Moments later, atmospheric pressure fluctuates in a wave pattern across the vessel. "Sir," calls the communications officer, "we're detecting an unauthorized transmission from the central communications array." Kazalthax moves swiftly to the officer's station. "What kind of transmission?" "It's complex, sir. Multi-layered. The primary signal appears to be a standard distress call, but embedded within it are detailed schematics of our vessel, tactical information, precise details about our biological vulnerabilities." The implication strikes Kazalthax like a physical blow. She's not just escaping, she's summoning reinforcements. The main view screen activates unexpectedly, displaying Maya's face. She appears calm, collected, her expression that of a scientist observing a particularly interesting specimen. "Overseer Kazalthax," she addresses him directly, using perfect Vexthanar pronunciation. "I've been studying your species' evolutionary history. Fascinating adaptation strategy. Parasitizing other species' biological innovations rather than developing your own. Effective, but with significant limitations." Kazalthax straightens, pride momentarily overriding his strategic concerns. "Our biological superiority has conquered thousands of worlds." Maya smiles, the expression oddly predatory on her seemingly harmless face. "Yes, but you've neglected technological innovation. Your ship systems are centuries behind your biological capabilities. I've already bypassed 70% of your security protocols." The screen splits to show a hunting party frozen in a containment field of their own design. Kazalthax's sensory crests flatten against his skull in shock. "Consider this a formal notice," Maya continues. "Your collection days are over." After a week of failed hunts, Kazalthax retreats to his private chambers to study every moment of recorded footage featuring the human. Something eludes his understanding. Other prey species rely on natural defenses. The Grachnar with their poisonous spines, the Zeta with their chameleonic skin, the Volturi with their hypersonic screams. But this human creates weapons from the environment itself. She lacks claws yet improvises cutting tools. She has no venom, but synthesizes compounds from medical supplies. Most disturbing, she appears to learn at an accelerated rate. His ancestors' warnings about humans suddenly seem less like superstition and more like hard-earned wisdom. Donning his ceremonial hunting armor, Kazalthax tracks the human to the antimatter containment sector. The ship's most dangerous area seems an odd choice for prey, until he realizes it perfectly suits her strategy. High risk, high reward. When he finally confronts her amid the humming power relays, he expects to end this chase with one decisive strike. Instead, Maya activates a prepared trap, manipulating gravity fields to increase local pressure around Kazalthax while reducing it around herself. His superior strength becomes a liability as his dense muscle mass works against him. There, confrontation leaves him with a broken primary limb, and the disturbing knowledge that she could have killed him but chose not to. As emergency systems restore normal gravity, Maya reveals the truth about human evolution. Your kind evolved to consume advantages. Mine evolved to create them. You adapted your bodies. We adapted everything else. Kazalthax lies pinned beneath a twisted section of conduit, his primary hunting limb bent at an unnatural angle. Pain signals cascade through his nervous system, yet his focus remains entirely on the human standing just beyond his reach. Maya observes him with clinical interest, showing neither fear nor bloodlust. You could have killed me, Kazalthax states, his translator struggling to convey the complex emotional harmonics in his voice. Why didn't you? Maya crouches to eye level with her fallen captor. Because death teaches nothing. Survival teaches everything. She gestures to the antimatter containment field humming behind her. Your species evolved remarkable biological adaptations. You can breathe multiple atmospheric compositions, resist radiation, regenerate limbs. Impressive. She pauses, head tilting slightly. But you stopped evolving mentally thousands of years ago. Why innovate when you can simply consume another species' adaptations? Kazalthax's secondary breathing passages flare as he processes her words. Our way brought us dominance across 12 star systems. Maya nods. And our way brought us across thousands, without stealing a single genetic sequence. The gravity stabilizes as emergency systems engage, but Kazalthax remains immobilized by the conduit. Maya stands, moving to a control panel where her fingers dance across alien interfaces with practiced ease. How? Kazalthax demands. How do you understand our system so quickly? No species masters Vexthanar technology without years of study. Maya taps her temple. Nanites. They're mapping your ship systems and translating them directly to my neural pathways. Technology we developed rather than absorbed. Impossible, Kazalthax whispers. Such technology would require cooperation, Maya finishes for him. Centuries of shared knowledge across generations. Millions of humans working together, building on each discovery. She turns back to him, her expression serious. That's what you never understood about us. Our strength isn't in our bodies. It's in our connections. She approaches again, kneeling beside him. From a pocket, she produces a small device and places it near his injured limb. A gentle blue light bathes the broken appendage, numbing the pain. Our ancestors were physically weak, Maya continues. So we learned to turn weakness into strength. We studied predators like you and became something. Knew not the strongest hunters, but the most adaptable ones. Maya stands before a wall of stasis pods in Sector 17, her hand hovering over the master release control. With access to critical ship systems, she begins the careful process of reviving selected specimens. She chooses strategically an engineer from the crystalline Thanor species, a navigator from the aquatic Melosians, a warrior from the hive-minded Ixlot. Many revived specimens remain disoriented or fearful, but others recognize the unprecedented opportunity before them. Using her nanites as universal translators, Maya forms connections across species boundaries that have never communicated directly before. From his medical bay, Kazalthax watches with growing horror as security feeds show the human's true evolutionary advantage. Not her adaptability alone, but her capacity to forge alliances with genetic strangers. While Vexthanar society is built on rigid hierarchies and genetic purity, this human creates a community from chaos. The Melosian rewires environmental systems to create habitable zones for different species. The Thanor repurposes collection equipment into communication devices. The Ixlot teaches others how to move through the ship undetected. When 3 Vexthanar battlecruisers respond to emergency signals, they dock expecting to suppress a single escaped specimen. Instead, they find coordinated resistance from dozens of species working in tandem, using the ship's own systems against them. For the first time in recorded history, the Vexthanar face an enemy they cannot categorize or predict, a collective led by a creature who turns diversity itself into strength. The medical bay doors slide open as Viral enters, his posture communicating deep concern. Overseer, you should be resting. Your regeneration cycle is only half complete. Kazalthax doesn't look away from the security feeds. How many specimens has she released? 37 at last count, Vral reports reluctantly. Primarily technical specialists and strategic thinkers. She's avoiding the purely aggressive species. On the central monitor, Maya stands in what was once Specimen Processing Center Beta. Around her gather representatives from species that would normally avoid or attack each other in the wild. Yet here they coordinate, sharing information through translation devices the Thanor engineer has constructed from repurposed neural inhibitors. Look at them, Kazalthax murmurs. Species that share no evolutionary history, no biological compatibility, no common language, working together as if they've done so for generations. Varol's sensory appendages flutter nervously. The reinforcement vessels have docked at access. Point 7, 12, and 23. Combat teams are preparing to board. They expect to face a disorganized rabble of frightened specimens, Xalthax says, mandibles clicking in what might be amusement. They will find something entirely different. The monitors show Maya addressing her unlikely coalition. Though the audio is muted, her leadership is evident in her posture, her gestures, the way the diverse assembly focuses on her words. She points to a holographic display of the ship, indicating specific sections where the reinforcements will enter. She's organizing a defense, Vrel realizes, his voice dropping to a whisper. A coordinated defense across multiple sectors. Xalthax's primary hunting claw extends thoughtfully. No, not just a defense. Look at the deployment pattern. Those are ambush positions. The first alarm sounds moments later. Combat Team Alpha reports unexpected resistance. Then Beta Team's communication cuts off entirely. Gamma Team encounters environmental hazards that shouldn't exist. Corridor gravity inverted. Atmospheric pressure fluctuating in patterns that disorient Vex Thanar sensory systems. She's turned our entire collection vessel into a trap, Xalthax observes, and for the first time in his long life, genuine admiration colors his voice. The human isn't just surviving, she's teaching our captives to hunt. 3 weeks into the conflict, the battle reaches a critical turning point. Aboard the command carrier, Vex Thanar High Command considers options unthinkable before, destroying their own legendary collection vessel to contain the spread of rebellion. Xalthax, arm still healing in an exoskeletal brace, reviews centuries of Vex Thanar evolutionary history with new perspective. Their species conquered the stars by absorbing genetic innovations from countless worlds. But this evolutionary path has reached its limit. The most powerful adaptation in the universe isn't biological, it's conceptual. Humans evolved to share, refine, and implement ideas across generations and species boundaries. As Maya's coalition secures the primary bridge, Kazalthax requests direct communication with her. Face-to-face through the view screen, predator and prey measure each other with new understanding. Maya offers terms: freedom for all specimens, reparations to affected worlds, and a fundamental restructuring of Vex Thanar society away from collection and consumption. The alternative she presents comes in the form of tactical data showing 5 human vessels approaching at superluminal speeds, the response to her distress beacon. Sensor scans reveal weapon systems unlike anything in Vex Thanar records. These aren't collection vessels, they're defenders, built by a species that evolved cooperative protection rather than solitary hunting. When Xalthax questions how such a physically unimpressive species developed such advanced technology, Maya explains humanity's unique evolutionary path. We fell behind physically, so we learned to embrace what makes us weak individually, our dependence on others, and transformed it into our greatest collective strength. Xalthax stands before the High Command Council, 6 of the oldest and most revered hunters in Vex Thanar history. Their exoskeletons bear the distinctive patterns of countless genetic absorptions, their massive forms dwarfing his own considerable size. On the central display, tactical projections show the collection vessel, now under Maya's control, surrounded by the High Command carrier group. You advocate mercy? Elder Zex Karath's voice resonates with disbelief. For prey that has turned predator? Unprecedented. I advocate understanding, Kazalthax corrects, gesturing to the historical data he's compiled. For tens of thousands of cycles, we've defined evolution as the absorption of biological advantages. This human has shown me another path. The display shifts to show Maya coordinating her diverse coalition. Species that evolved on worlds light years apart now work as a cohesive unit, each contributing unique skills to their collective defense. What I've witnessed is adaptation without absorption, Kazalthax continues. The human doesn't need to consume genetic material to gain advantages. She creates connections, symbiotic relationships where diverse abilities complement each other. Elder, Thaxavrol's hunting claws extend in agitation. Pretty philosophical observations while our greatest collection vessel remains under foreign control. Look, Kazalthax insists, highlighting sensor readings from the approaching human vessels. Their weapons technology exceeds our own by at least 3 evolutionary cycles. How? Their bodies are fragile, their lifespans brief. They achieved this through cooperative innovation, thousands of minds working across generations toward shared goals. The comm system activates and Maya's face appears on the central display. Behind her stands a coalition of formerly captive species, now organized into what appears to be a functioning command crew. High Command Carrier, she addresses them directly. We've secured complete control of this vessel and deactivated its self-destruct capabilities. I'm prepared to discuss terms. The elders hiss in unified outrage, but Kazalthax raises a restraining claw. What terms? Simple. Freedom for all captured specimens, an end to your collection practices, and recognition of our newly formed alliance, a free species. Her expression remains calm but resolute. In exchange, we share technological innovation processes that your biological absorption cannot provide.